How's everybody doing today? Today I just wanted to do a little video on Excel copying. Excel has a lot of nice built-in features that help you do a lot of neat things when it comes to copying. Usually what we do when we want to copy, we've got a formula. For example, here I've got equal sign sum B4 through E4. So I'm summing up these cells. And I say, alright, I want to copy this. So we go to the lower right side and I see my cursor changes. When I get on this little box here, it changes from kind of a thicker plus sign to a thinner plus sign. That's kind of a visual cue for me to let me know it's ready to copy. So if I click and I drag down, it will do the copy. One thing just to note, I mentioned this before in a previous video, but it is important to note this again. As this was copied, the formula did change. Here it's equal sign sum B4 through E4. Here it's equal sign sum B5 through E5, and so on. Really, if the formula didn't change and it just copied the 15740 the whole way, it really wouldn't be that useful. But Excel is smart enough to change the formula as we copy it. That's called a relative cell address because it changes relative to its position in the worksheet. In another video that's coming up, we will talk about absolute cell references where the cell does not change as you copy it. Sometimes we don't want the cell to change. I wanted to talk a little bit more about these visual cues. A minute ago we got this visual cue. My cursor changed from the big plus sign to the little plus sign. That means copy. We also kind of know if we just want to highlight, if we're in the middle of a cell and I have my larger plus sign, that means highlight. So it just highlights this group of cells. One interesting point to note, even though the upper left cell, it looks like it's not included in the highlight, it really is. It always just leaves that one not grayed out. It's kind of a visual cue to you where the start of your highlight began. So that's highlighting. Another thing that I want to show you, I'm going to delete this. Another thing I want to show you, because sometimes it confuses people, is a move. The visual cue for a move is this. Notice if I'm on a line but I'm not on this little box, I get a change in my cursor, but it's a cursor with 4 arrows. So a lot of times you think, I want to do a copy, and if you're just like a 1/16 of an inch to the left, you click, you drag, and what happens is you say, what? I thought I wanted to do a copy, but it actually did a move. So just be aware of that. If you're anywhere on the cell on one of the lines and you click and drag, it thinks you just want to move that. So just to recap, we've got the larger plus sign is highlight. We've got the, when we're on the box there, the little box on the lower left, that's a nice copy. And the last one, if you're on a line, it's a move. A couple other things I wanted to show you about the copy command. It's got a lot of built-in functionality. Over here I've got January. If I just go and I copy this over, it doesn't copy January, January, January. It's kind of smart enough to figure out, well, I probably want January, February, March. It'll do the same thing with Monday. Anything that's kind of, if it's an item that is sequential in nature, it will start to repeat the sequence for us. Wanted to show you what happens here. I've got a 1 and a 2. You might think, well, it's going to do a 3, a 4, a 5. I'm going to try it. It doesn't do that. It just does the 2, 2, 2. Let's say I wanted it to do a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, if you want it to do that, highlight both numbers. Then it sees a sequence. Now if I copy, it'll repeat that sequence for me. It doesn't even have to be a 1, a 2. For example, I could say, what if I wanted 5, 10, 15, 20? So as soon as it sees the sequence, it'll repeat it for me. So you can pretty much get any sequence of numbers you want. I'm going to pop over here to another sheet, and let's say I wanted to copy this whole table. I'm going to highlight the entire table, In this case, I'm going to do a right-click copy. I'm going to do a right-click down here, and I'm going to do paste. I'm going to paste special, so it will actually copy my values and everything down for me. But that's a way I could get a whole table. Anyhow, there's a little bit on the copy command. Hopefully that was helpful. We'll see you next time. Thanks.